The Paris-New York flight was full. In the first-class cabin, a cozy atmosphere reigned as passengers settled in, exchanging a few discreet greetings or already immersing themselves in their reading. The subtle smell of leather from the seats mixed with the refined aromas of champagne created an atmosphere of exclusivity. Then suddenly, a shrill voice broke this tranquility. "Is this a joke? Is she sitting here?" A blonde woman, wearing a designer dress and an ostentatious pearl necklace, stared indignantly at a young black girl. His cold blue eyes scrutinized Isa with a barely concealed expression of disgust. The surrounding passengers paused their movements, their conversations dying on their lips, captivated by the scene ahead. The young girl, named Isa, barely raised her head from her book, a collection of philosophy whose sober cover contrasted with the sudden agitation. She was around 15 years old, with a gentle face but marked by a discreet confidence, a maturity that few young people of her age possessed. Her long braided hair fell over her shoulders, and her sober suit distinguished her without ostentation. "Yes, that's my place," she replied in a calm tone, without the slightest tremor in her voice. But the woman, visibly shocked, shook her head and called for a flight attendant with an impatient gesture, as if she had witnessed an unforgivable mistake. "I refuse to travel next to her. She has no business here. This seat must be a mistake." The hostess, a young woman in an impeccable uniform, came running immediately. He looked from the woman to Isa, trying to understand the nature of the problem. The confidence of the indignant passenger made her uncomfortable, and she immediately felt that the situation was delicate. "Miss, can I see your ticket, please?" she asked, with professionalism tinged with embarrassment. Without a word, Isa handed over her ticket. The stewardess checked it carefully, her eyes scanning the printed information before raising her head and confirming in a neutral tone. "Everything is in order, madam. Mademoiselle is well in her place." A tense silence ensued, but the passenger did not intend to stop there.
"It's impossible."
"You have to move it. It's not a question of the ticket, it's a question of standing. First class is not for everyone."
As chatter ran through the cabin.
Some passengers looked down, others observed the scene with obvious discomfort. A few looked outraged, but no one spoke. In this universe hushed with privilege, injustice sometimes had the face of complicit silence. The stewardess hesitated, casting a worried look at her cabin manager, a man in his 50s who had been monitoring the situation for a few moments. Taking a quiet breath, he walked over and took over. "Miss, there are free seats in business class, if you agree to travel," he said with a tight smile, hoping to end the incident smoothly. Isa, until now silent, looked him straight in the eyes, trying to read something there. She saw only guilty resignation. "So, because she's uncomfortable with me, I have to leave?" The man swallowed, but didn't respond immediately. He knew he was giving in to unwarranted pressure, but he wanted to avoid a scandal. He secretly hoped that Isa would accept without fuss, out of simple pragmatism. After a few seconds of heavy silence, Isa finally got up, retrieving her book and her bag with calculated slowness. She scrutinized the recalcitrant passenger, then the stewardess and the purser. His calm, his dignity spoke volumes. "It's okay. I'll go to business class." She headed towards the other cabin, head held high, ignoring the stares on her. But no one knew who his father was. When the plane landed in New York, the woman who had demanded Isa's departure got off the plane with a satisfied smile. For her, everything had gone as planned. She had obtained what she wanted without the slightest consequence, convinced that her social status and her influence guaranteed her total impunity. His gaze scanned the airport with quiet confidence, already focused on his plans once he arrived in town. But when she crosses the walkway leading to the VIP area, her smile suddenly disappears. In front of her, several uniformed security officers waited, accompanied by an imposing man in a dark suit with a piercing gaze. His appearance exuded an indisputable authority, a cold charisma that commanded respect. Murmurs rose around them, passengers stopping, sensing that something unusual was happening. It was Ibrahim Daira, one of the most powerful men in the world of aviation. His name was known in business circles. His fortune built on an airline empire that stretched to the four corners of the world. He was not only a shareholder of the airline she had just borrowed, he was its main owner. Beside him, Isa stood straight, observing the scene with cold serenity, her eyes shining with a contained glow. Despite the humiliation suffered a few hours earlier, she displayed neither anger nor resentment, only a quiet strength that her presence imposed. Ibrahim walked slowly towards the woman, without taking his eyes off her. His expression remained impassive, but in his eyes burned an icy anger. "Madam, allow me to inform you that you have just been banned for life from all our airlines." His voice was calm, but implacable. "We do not tolerate discrimination on board our aircraft."
Anaïs Isailens Seteldover.
The conversations died down. All eyes were turned towards the woman who, frozen, opened her mouth, then immediately closed it. His fingers clenched on the handle of his bag betrayed his confusion. She was looking for an answer, a justification, a way to deny the obvious. But she immediately understood that no words could reverse the situation. The journalist's flashes crackled, immortalizing his humiliation. In a few seconds, the affair would go around the world. The power she believed she possessed no longer had any value in the face of the overwhelming influence of Ibrahim Daera.
Sir.
I didn't do anything wrong, she stammered, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and confusion. Ibrahim raised an eyebrow, a look of deep contempt in his eyes.
Nothing wrong.
You humiliated my daughter under the pretext that she was not like the passengers you consider worthy of this cabin. You thought you could demean her without consequences, because in your world, privilege protects you from justice. But here, I guarantee you that it has a price. He made a discreet gesture to one of the security guards. Make sure she leaves the area immediately. The order was clear. The woman was escorted away without another word, her pale face contrasting with the arrogance she had displayed just moments earlier. The cameras followed his every step, forever recording his public humiliation. Isa, for her part, exchanged a look with her father. He placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a gesture full of tenderness and pride. You didn't have to leave, my daughter, he said in a soft but firm voice. She shrugged slightly, a discreet smile touching her lips. It doesn't matter. I knew that true justice awaited me when I landed. A knowing smile passed between them, while the crowd of journalists continued to immortalize this memorable lesson. That day, the whole world witnessed an unchanging truth. Arrogance and contempt always hit a wall, and those who think they can humiliate others without consequence sometimes discover that the wheel turns much faster than they imagine.